Hey guys, this is YouTube Vids, and today I'm going to be beginning a series for the video game The Long Dark. For anyone not familiar with the game, The Long Dark has a story mode as of August 1st, 2017 when it went into full release, and prior to that it was just a sandbox survival game. In the current release of the game, you can play the story mode, which includes all the aspects of the sandbox survival mode, but with a story wrapped around it. I'm not going to talk a lot about the actual gameplay, so we can jump into the game and you can see it firsthand. Before we jump into playing the game though, I want to quickly point out the difficulty levels. The Long Dark can be an enjoyable experience for everyone. If you want to jump into the game and stick to exploring more than focusing on surviving, which is really fun I may add, this game is for you. If you want to jump into the game and become the ultimate survivor where everything is out to get you, this game is for you. In the sandbox survival mode, you can even customize your experience where you aren't forced to pick from a preset difficulty. I would like to point out that The Long Dark is available right now on Steam for just $8.74 during their winter sale. That is a steal in my opinion for this game. A very important detail is looking at the overall review ratings on Steam for this game. Out of 31,000 reviews all time, the average rating is very positive, and out of 1,000 recent reviews, the average rating is also very positive. Let's get into the gameplay, shall we? A quick note, I am commentating this gameplay after the fact to allow myself to be immersed in the game while playing it. When you first start the game, the first thing you see is the disclaimer. I wanted to touch on this briefly because there are a couple of things here worth noting. The first thing is that some portion of this seems to have been written by the development team. They do acknowledge certain aspects of this game aren't realistic, such as wolves attacking humans. More importantly though, the disclaimer does point out that this game is not intended to be a survival simulator, and anything done in this game to survive does not necessarily translate into the real world. In this series, I will be focusing on Wintermute, also known as the story mode. Let's do a quick overview of the other game modes as well. Their survival mode, which is the sandbox version of the game that was previously the only playable mode in the beta version. Survival mode again does not have any type of story associated with it. You can explore the many areas of the region at your own free will. In survival mode, there are varying difficulty levels as I explained earlier. The easiest difficulty is Pilgrim, and the most difficult is Interloper. The custom option allows you to tweak various settings to create your own difficulty. Challenges are objective-based games, each with a clear beginning and end, designed to be playable from anywhere between 1 and 3 hours. With all that out of the way, let's get into story mode. When you enter story mode, the first thing that you're going to be required to do is to create a new story. So you click on the new button, pops up the little thing. First one you play is episode 1, so there's a multi-episode story going on here. Then eventually you click the next button basically. So then you're presented with 3 options: green survivor, capable survivor, hardened survivor. So green basically is like, give me the easiest option to survive. Capable is usually, if you've played the game before, if you played the sandbox mode, you probably want to pick that one because you're familiar with the mechanics of the game. Hardened is for like most likely hardcore, probably would be the best to describe it. So if you want an extremely tough challenge, you'd pick hardened. In this case, I'm going to go with capable. And then once you click next, then you're required to name your story to save it. Episode 1 says that a plane crash occurs, and here's me attempting to wake up after that plane crash. After a brief introduction and hearing some creepy voice in the background, Wow, I finally start to wake up and come to. Oh my god, where am I? What's going on? What happened? So I wake up and the first thing I notice is I've got this thing in my hand. I'm like, what the heck? First I was trying to figure out like what am I supposed to do, so but because you couldn't move, so then naturally I hovered over that and it gives you the option where you gotta keep clicking the left mouse button to then remove said object from my hand. So now I got this huge gash in my hand. And now we begin the venture. So I'm thinking, I was thinking here, I'm like, oh look, there's fire, so let me go get warmed by the fire or something like that. So one of the game mechanics you learn in this game is, no show it early on. I'm unable to run. I can't sprint or anything in the game right now because my guy's injured, and it kind of explains that. But one of the mechanics in the game of surviving is you're in this cold climate, so you got to stay warm. And that was, so my first instinct was, well, hey, there's a fire over there. Let me go sit by the fire and try to get warm. So then here's me. I was just kind of looking through the menu to see what's see what all's there. So I'm walking around. There's fire all over the place. It's the first thing I noticed is everything's on fire. Wondering if I'm gonna get burnt to death or something. And then, hey, they made it simple. There's not really many places to go from here. So I'm like, okay, let's go to the, I see a cave. So a cave seems like a good idea. Then they start to tell you a little bit more about, okay, here's what fire does. I mean, of course, if you're not, but fire provides heat, water, food. You can heat up food and stuff on the fire, and you can do other things with the fire. I don't want to give away too much offhand because as I go through the game, at least in this first episode, you'll see more of how a fire can be used. Again, if you're not familiar with the gameplay and game mechanics. So I see some cedar firewood on the ground, so I picked that up. So basically the game's easy. You hover the dot over like what you want to pick up, and it'll tell you what it is, and then you just left click and that picks up that item and puts it in your backpack. So I'm just going around looking for anything. Oh, and then here I kept, so the game, they changed this game mechanic. Before it used to click and it would just search by itself, and then now they changed it so you have to like hold down left click to search something, and then it pops up all the things you found as a result of searching that object. Now you see when I clicked on the cardboard box, and this applies to certain items in the game as well, is you can click on certain items and they give you the option to, if it's something bigger, more difficult to, I guess, to pick up or accumulate, they give you the options to break it down. So I could break down, look, there's blood. There's my blood, and this is where I think, yeah, he said, oh, I'm gonna bleed out soon. So I need to figure out, okay, well, I happen to have a bandage, so let me apply my bandage. So now I'm not losing blood anymore. I put a bandage around my hand that had the big hole in it. I figured I should take some antibiotics, but then it says that the treatment didn't do anything. I would think that antibiotics would be good for, you know, trying to help heal my hand, but apparently not in this case. So, and here's the various menus. So this is how you can see like what your health, what your status is. This is the status menu. So you check what, if you're winded. So basically that's if you're tired or not, your dry mouth, and your hunger. So dry mouth obviously means if you're dry, then you need to drink more fluids. And hunger obviously means you need to eat. So here's me trying to place a campfire. So this is basically one way to get warm. Being in the cave already makes it kind of warm, and there's already natural fire as a result of the plane crash. But it looks like I decided to forget making the campfire there. So for me, when I play this game, the one thing I love about it is just the scavenging. Like I didn't enjoy the game when you have to fight off wildlife. But I did enjoy just being able to wander around and just search and search and search. So in the story mode right now, there's not much you can really do in this particular part of the story. It's very limited, as you'll see. But yeah, once you get into like cities and stuff like that, there's like so much scavenging you get a chance to do. So now I'm trying to build the fire because that's actually part of the objective. I didn't realize it here, but if you go to the journal, it'll tell you exactly what you need to do. I find that out later on, but I didn't realize it here, so I'm just like, well, I guess this is what I need to do. So I guess they did a pretty good job of, like, I guess, indirectly telling you what to do without telling you what to do, because he said he was cold. So he says stuff as you go along to kind of make you think, oh yeah, I guess this is what I need to do. So I built my campfire. That was the first thing I needed to do. And then, yeah, so then that was accomplishing that part of day one, was just heal up, find shelter, get warm. That was day one. So now we're moving on to day two here. My campfire's burned out overnight. All the other fires also out as well. So now now they're telling you about the status, even though I had to learn about that in order to heal myself. You had to go to the status menu to heal yourself. And it tells you here, if you lose all your condition, then you die. So basically, you can starve to death. You can dehydrate yourself to death. You can freeze to death. You can actually get hypothermia from being too cold and die. So there are multiple ways for you to die. Oh, and you can also die due to wildlife in this game, but that's not something we've come across yet. But it is certainly a way to die, as you can get attacked by things. So yeah, one thing you got to be cautious about in the game too is that because of the fact that, like, first off, my guy doesn't really have that much in terms of clothing, which I didn't really point out here yet, but you need to be cautious about how much time you spend breaking stuff down, because it tells you like how many calories it takes to break stuff down. And there's like my blood or something like that. I can't remember what that was. Stuff sticking to the ground. But you burn calories, and the more calories you burn, the hungrier you get. So, you know, you burn calories that cause you to get hungry and thirsty. And so you basically have to make sure you have all the material in place to replenish your health needs. So here, wow, I found an MRE and found some matches, some cloth, some newsprint. So that's all good for starting fires. And obviously the MRE is quick food, and searching the containers for anything else I can find. Now I noticed the crates, I thought you might be able to search them, but you weren't able to search them. So, which is kind of weird, because I figured, hey, it's a crate, there might be something in there. And plus, if you break it, maybe stuff would come out of it. But so now I'm just kind of looking around some more and seeing what else is here. So I found a cardboard box. So yeah, so the time you spend breaking stuff down, your condition can change while you're breaking the stuff down. So that's, again, why you have to be careful about how much time you spend actually breaking stuff down. So I went around and looked for things like sticks and other quick material to pick up, so that way I didn't have to spend time trying to trying to break stuff down. So I'm just kind of walking back. Believe here I thought, okay, well, let me just build another fire, since I've got the materials to do it now. I can build another campfire. And once your other campfire's out, that thing's pretty much done. You can't reuse it, or you can't even reclaim any material from the campfire. So when you do place campfires, you should be careful where you place them, and you need to be smart about when you place them, because you can't reclaim your campfires. You can't like undo the placement of a campfire or starting a fire. You waste materials by starting a fire. So you just have to be very careful about how and when you do your campfires. And this may be a game mechanic that they changed, but I know in sandbox mode, starting fires you actually had a rating as to how good you were at starting campfires, and that would dictate how easy it was for you to start campfires with little material. So in the story mode, it looks like they may have scrapped that to make it playable. Because there was times where you try to start a campfire, and if you had like crap material, like 90% of the time, the fire wouldn't even start. So then your guy would be like, damn it, the fire wouldn't start. So that always sucked. So I added my sticks to it just for the sake of getting more stuff in there. I have my MRE. I decided to eat it here. Again, I didn't need the fire for that. that was actually part of the reason why I started the fire, was I was planning on cooking food, I think, originally. Then I'm like, oh, duh, dummy, you have an MRE. You don't need to cook anything. And then I came back here and I forgot that. So one of the aspects of the game is if you don't have water, you can melt snow. So you melt the snow, which then gives you bad water, and then you boil that water to have drinkable water. So here I go ahead and say, okay, let's melt some snow. Get some agua up in this mug. Now I need to boil it because now it's dirty water after being melted. So melting snow doesn't take that long, but then you have to actually then take that water and then boil it to make it to purify it. Now there's other mechanics in the game that we'll see later on here that make it easier to purify water. I don't want to give that away because I actually show it off in this first episode. So see, now I have an infection risk. So now my hand is actually have the risk of being infected, but we happen to have some antiseptic that we picked up. So now I can apply my antiseptic to my hand, so basically my peroxide or whatever you want to call it. And so now my infection risk is healed. And that is day 2. So I healed my infection, I got some food, I stayed warm. So again, they're not asking for a whole lot in these first few days, which is good. So if you haven't played the game before, it gives you a little bit of opportunity to try to learn some things without trying to kill you off right away. I'm sure progressively it gets harder, like right now. So day 3, my guy went back out, but now it's like a complete like snowstorm outside.
Can't feel my feet.
And again, I still hadn't even looked at the journal yet. So again, I'm just implying in a way like what they're wanting me to do. Now also the one thing you'll notice is that some things that I don't think they were there previously, but like for example the cedar wood I had just previously picked up, it didn't even look like that was there last time. So they dropped new things. I also then decided to break down the crate because that gives you like a couple reclaimed firewood or reclaimed wood, so that way you get 2 per crate. That way I can use that to burn. Oh, see in that one I didn't even notice that. Wow. So there was actually, so when I did break the crate, it did drop some stuff. So I didn't actually so let me go back on my previous thing. I thought that it never dropped anything, but I didn't notice it there when I broke that crate. It actually did stuff did come out of that, and I missed it. So that's terrible. So when I think I actually go back there and pick that stuff up, and I thought, wait, this stuff just showed up all of a sudden. But I know for almost a fact that cedar firewood that we ended up finding was not there the first time around. I'm almost sure of it because I searched. So I decided to build my other campfire now because I'm like, well, I gotta build this fire. I need to stay warm because it's cold as heck out there, especially with the wind blowing the way it does. That is one game mechanic to point out in this game, is that if you go out in the weather when it's very windy out and you don't have much cover, you increase your chance of hypothermia by a lot. So now I'm adding my reclaimed firewood and my sticks, a couple sticks I guess, all of my sticks. I didn't want to burn my book because you can actually read your books. So books in this game, you'll find out books, actually you can read the books and get knowledge from your books on how to survive. That actually was included, that was in the sandbox version of the game, but it had 0 meaning in the sandbox mode. Well, I take that back, it had some meaning. Because they had ones for like starting fires and stuff like that, and that actually helped you start fires faster and whatnot. So now I'm like, oh wait, because I think I was thinking like, what the hell am I supposed to do now? So I'm like trying to figure out, like, it says something about eating or something, so I went to the journal. I think here, right? No? Yeah, I was like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. So I'm like, let me just go back out and scavenge some more. See what else I can find. Maybe there's something that gives me another hint of what I'm supposed to do. That's usually typical for games though, like this, is you would normally go do something and then kind of gives you some more information. And then I'm like, oh hey, look, water. These just showed up. Wood matches and water purification tablets. So remember earlier I mentioned there's multiple ways to purify water. And the cloth showed up that I don't think was there last time. So water purification tablet showed up. So that is another way to purify your water. So one of the ways is to melt snow and then boil water. Or if you happen to find water in other places, then you just boil it. Or you can drop some purification tablets in there. So I got all my stuff, and again, I keep coming back to my cave because if you notice, my I think in the bottom left it was showing that like my guy was getting very cold. So the longer I have like zero, I have no I don't really have that many clothes on right now since my guy just survived the crash. So basically, the only way to stay warm is to keep going back to the cave, and then staying close to the fire. So I'm melting some more snow because I'm like thinking, well, maybe I just got to do this to eat or something. I don't even see now. I dropped the purification tablet in there, so now that's the way to purify the water. So it's not necessarily any faster than boiling it, I think, really. So you know, again, I think purification tablets you probably want to save if you can, in case, like, because you don't need the fire for your purification tablet. So that's why it's beneficial to probably hang on to those. And so I was like still thinking, I'm like, well, what am I supposed to do? Because I thought it said something about eating or something. I can't remember what. I think it said something about eating, and I'm like, I don't know like what the hell I'm supposed to do here. So I was just like wandering around just trying to, but then it was like so dark. Look how dark it is. Can't see jack squat. I'm like, yeah, I was just confused at what I was supposed to do here. So that's why it seems like I'm like wandering around just like aimlessly. I'm like, there's got to be something, right? Like, what do I do? What do I do? Then look, I found some more firewood. And then I think, so then I saw the rose hips, which again, if you're familiar with the sandbox game, the rose hips were there too. They have a special purpose in the game. I won't get into that yet. At some point I figured out what's going on. See, I found more cedar firewood, and maybe I just needed to walk around more. I don't know, but I feel like I was in these spots before, and then that stuff wasn't there. So I'm not really sure. Like, I feel like it just showed up. So now it says it's saving again, so I think that means I met some objective. So now I had my firewood, which as you add firewood, actually it's covered up by the overlay, but it actually increases in the upper left corner. It increases the duration of the fire. So if you hover, when I hover over the campfire, you'll see that now it says 8 hours and 16 minutes. So the campfire basically burned for 8 hours based on all the wood material I've added to it. And then it didn't trigger anything, so I kind of went back out. I'm like, okay, what do I got to do now? So I figured, well, I thought I was going to break that down. I guess not. Yeah, I came back out here. I'm just like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Oh, hey, I found some more cedar firewood, so I guess I'll just pick that up just because, and another stick. Those stupid branches. It's kind of weird because, like, if it's a branch, I guess it's a branch, not a stick, so you would probably want to break that down if you're going to throw it into a fire. But it seems like it takes like 10 minutes to break down a branch. It's like, okay, it's not like some huge limb that fell off a tree. It's like a little branch. It shouldn't take 10 minutes to break that down. I can break those down in my backyard in a second. So I got some more cedar firewood. I'm just looking around to see like what else I could find, if there's anything else worth picking up, but it's so damn dark outside I can't really see much. So I'm like, well, I guess I'll add this to the fire too.
Good.
And then my stick. So I added whatever fuel I had. Then I believe, I thought this is the part where it actually says, okay, I'm good. Oh, okay, so yeah, so after the plane crash, you're feeling weak. Oh, okay, it just shows that your hand. So after the plane crash, that's why my guy, he can't do much yet. He can't sprint or anything because he's so weak. He's still trying to recover from the plane crash, and I'm trying to figure out what the hell am I supposed to do here.
That should last me through the night. So tired.
Okay, so then finally it triggered something where it said, okay, I've got enough wood for the night. That was the objective, was to scavenge enough wood to be able to stay warm overnight again.
Thought that storm would never end.
So my campfire's still burning. My guy slept, but there's still like almost 2 hours left on the campfire even. So he didn't sleep very long. Okay, so this is where it's trying to point you basically in the direction of where you need to go. So you could hear the crows like flying around, so I'm just kind of like, well, let me look around. Hey, there's my own footprints. Let me pick up some more wood. Again, you can never have too many sticks. And then all of a sudden, look, then books appeared. See, those weren't there previously, right? So those may come in handy at some point, but yeah. So I picked up the books. I looked for any other like low-hanging fruit, so to speak, trying to see what else I can interact with. And then see, then I looked up at the crows. So I heard the crows, and I'm like, okay. So now what? So I'm like looking around. Nope, can't go there. I'm like trying to. I think I was trying to jump. I know in this game you can't jump. There's no jump button in this game. So spacebar does not jump. Spacebar actually opens up your that little menu that pops up in the middle. Spacebar opens that, at least on PC.
It was a hell of a storm last night.
So and then he mentions, hey, there's a big tree that fell. Just as I realized, oh wait, I guess there's a big tree right there I can maybe walk on. So then I walk up the tree. That takes me over to this part where you can see the dead deer or buck lying there on the right, and then I find this secret case.
Locked. Jackrabbit Remote Transport, Mackenzie speaking. Whoa, well, slow down, Maureen. What are you talking about? It's okay, Maureen. I've got it from here.
Hello, Will.
What are you doing here?
It's been a while, I know.
Yeah. Years. I haven't heard from you since...
I know. I know. And I wouldn't be here if it weren't important.
Well... What brings you... I mean... Are you sick?
No. No, not me. But I need to get to someone who is.
Right. So you're still a doctor?
Yes, I'm still a doctor.
I thought that after... Why are you here?
I need your help. There's an isolated community in the northern part of Great Bear. Someone there is very sick.
Great Bear? There's nothing there anymore. Not since...
I know. But I have to get there.
Still trying to save the world, huh?
Somebody has to.
What's that supposed to mean?
Mackenzie... Will... I didn't come here to fight about the past. I need a pilot to take me somewhere remote. Someone who won't ask too many questions. Someone I can trust.
Wait. Questions? Astrid, are you in trouble?
Are you gonna help me, or not?
What's in the case?
See, there's that thing about no questions, remember?
What's in the case, Astrid?
No questions.
Look, the weather out there is bad. Bad. But it's getting worse. You walk in here after years. I could have been dead. You could have been. And then you show up and you want me to just risk my life flying into the middle of the great northern nowhere to deliver you in some mystery metal case to some remote wilderness outpost. All because you walked in here and asked me to?
Yes.
Astrid, you can't bring him back.
This isn't about that.
I know how hard it's been.
No. You don't know, Mackenzie. You don't know anything.
You don't think I feel it too?
Are you gonna take me or not? The longer I wait, the worse it'll get. Damn it. I don't have time for this.
Wait. The worse what we'll get? Why do I have a feeling you're not talking about the weather?
Because I'm not.
Throw your bags in the plane. I'll get started on pre-flight. Better buckle up tight, because it's gonna be a rough ride. Whatever's in this case, Astrid was ready to die for it.
Okay, so now we got the first part of the story where apparently his ex-wife or whoever she is comes back into his office and is like, you know, telling him she wouldn't even tell him what the case was in the case. So obviously he knows it's something very important. Unfortunately, we don't have the code. So now to continue on with just trying to survive, now I gotta go get some meat from this deer carcass that's laying here. So it's frozen, and that'll make it take longer to harvest. So again, similar to like breaking down stuff or doing anything out in the wilderness in this game, you have to be very careful about how long you take to collect material, especially. So I found a coat too, so my coat that apparently I lost, I guess somehow flew off my back when the plane crashed. So I still can't get the rose hips yet. I kept trying to search the backpack because I felt like I should be able to search that. The case I found I thought was like right next to it originally. I thought, I mean, I could be wrong, but I kept trying to search that backpack, but it wouldn't let me. So I harvested some of the deer meat, so now I've got some venison.
Can't feel my hands.
And then it had popped up a dialogue previously about, you know, eating any type of meat can kill. Eating any type of raw meat can kill you, and obviously that also transcends to real life as well. So it's not just a game mechanic. Eating raw meat can make you ill and sick, possibly kill you. So just be careful. You know, when you order meat, make sure that they cook it good enough. Don't order raw stuff. But anyway, so I took the meat, I put it back. So now I had meat. I can go to my food option on the campfire and actually cook my venison. So now I can eat my cooked venison. You don't want to eat that stuff raw because you can and most likely will die. So it did fill my hunger a little bit. Now I figured, okay, I'll drink some water as well. I think at some point in here I find out that the journal tells you what to do. So all along I've been playing this game. And again, this game was not... the story mode was not playable in the beta mode when the game was in beta mode until August of last year, 2017. But you know, you just kind of, by playing the game, you kind of get used to the game mechanics. So you kind of like, it's kind of implied like what they want you to do to an extent. So I go back to the deer again because I'm like, well, I need to harvest some more. It's like it's gonna take me 30 minutes to harvest a little bit of meat, a kilogram of meat from a frozen deer carcass. So, but every time I do that, again, my guy gets cold. He gets really cold just staying there, because basically you're just sitting in that small area, just harvesting deer meat for a half hour in the blistering cold. So I take that, I go look for any other sticks that may have fallen or anything else I can find. I think I was looking over here because I'm like, well, hey, what's over here? Oh, nothing. I think you could probably jump off those ledges or something. Maybe I didn't try. I got close, but I'm like, I don't even want to try because you probably die. So climb back down again. This is kind of like somewhat monotonous, but again, if you're trying to survive, man, you got to do what you got to do, right? Trying to survive may be monotonous. So either you know, don't think of it that way and you think of it like, hey, I'm trying to survive, I'm not trying to die today, and you put in the work, or you just let yourself die. I mean, so the fire is now outputting 70 degrees Celsius, which is pretty warm. I can't tell you offhand that what that is in Fahrenheit, but I'm pretty sure that's over 100 degrees Fahrenheit, I would think, because 70 degrees is Celsius is, I thought, pretty different, but now it just sounds stupid. But yeah, I'm just adding more to the fire now to keep it going for longer. So see, the heat output is increasing depending upon how much and what type of wood I add to it. So now I found the journal entry. I'm like, oh, hey, wow, this actually tells you what you need to do. So see if you're strong enough to climb out of the ravine, explore the ravine. You'll need to fill up on food before you do all that. So look, it took me to day 4 to finally realize that there's a journal there. So anytime you're trying to get a tip from the game as to like what the hell you're supposed to be doing, they don't make it hard. You just go to the journal, and it just tells you almost blatantly what you need to do. Now, I have played a little bit beyond this, but I will tell you the journal's not always, it doesn't tell you exactly what you need to do in some cases. Like, it tries to be a little vague, but specific at the same time. So, you don't want to make it too hard, but you don't want to make it too easy, right? So harvesting another kilogram of meat from the deer. So, and now, basically, there's only like half a kilogram left of meat on the deer. So again, I go to try to search that backpack. I'm just like infatuated with that thing. I'm like, why couldn't it search it? Because like normally in the sandbox mode, when you click on a backpack, you hear like the zzz, like a zipper sound that plays, and I didn't hear that when I got that case that was next to it. I swear that case was next to it. So I'm going back to my man cave. Haha, literally. Gonna add some more firewood to it, which was probably a mistake, but I just did anyways. Now I'm going to cook some more venison. And again, I apologize because of the overlay. You can't see the top left, but that tells you how long the duration for the fire is. You can see the heat output, but you can't see the duration remaining. So now I'm going to eat the rest of my venison. Get full, nice and full belly. And then I'm going to drink some more water. Get full on water. I believe that no, that didn't quite fill me up, but it got me some more. But I want to maximize my hydration, so that, because I didn't know what was left, like what was beyond this, so I wanted to get my hydration maxed out as well, or at least as close to maxed out as I could. So I figured I'd just melt some more snow, boil some more water, and then drink that up, because then one, it'll be warm water. So actually the temperature of what you drink actually dictates how long you can stay warm in the game as well. So pro tip, interesting game mechanic, if you drink stuff that'll probably be shown later on, warm fluids will help keep you warm. They'll give you like a warm boost for a certain period of time. So now I'm going around, I'm like, okay, I see something, this seems to have opened up, this is different. So now it gives me the option to climb this. What a wuss. So he tried to climb the damn thing. He fell down and he sprained his ankle. So I don't know what happened here. So I clicked on the rose tips. It tells me what it does. I went to go harvest it, and I don't know if this may be just an intended game mechanic in the story mode.
May as well rest up.
So I go and I harvest the rose tip, and then next thing I know, it's my ankle's healed and I'm in day 5. So I'm assuming that's part of the story, or I don't know if that's a bug or something like that. I felt like you needed to do something with that before it would, you know, some game mechanic I was supposed to learn there that I didn't learn. So that popped up something about knowledge about the wild. Now I think to some extent, like, that actually kind of plays into the book. So now if you notice, now my sprained ankle's healed, my guy's actually doing pretty good. And he said, like, oh, let me try to climb out of here today. Now I can actually run now. Now my guy can actually sprint because he's healed up. So I'm like, you know what? While I'm here and there's rose hips around, I'm going to go ahead and harvest these things. And then find whatever else I can seem to find, maybe any low-hanging fruit. So I'm like, oh, I'll try to climb it again. So it says your hands feel stronger now. It's time to climb out of the ravine. So basically they were just kind of expecting you to fail the previous time around, which is why the guy fell down and hurt himself. So now he's actually healthy enough to climb out. Figured, okay, I'll harvest some more rose hips while I'm here along the way. So I'm like, okay, now what? Oh, there's another kind of similar looking thing or set of rocks. So that seems to indicate, that was their way of indicating, hey, over here, dummy, you can climb this. So I wanted to look around, see what else I could find. Not much there though, so like, okay, climb the next one. And up we go. This guy's got some good upper body strength, man. He just like, whoop, just grabs himself and throws him over. I don't think that they needed to be more of like a he has to crawl up kind of animation. And you see I look at some of these weird things in the terrain sometimes because they kind of make you some terrain there's some terrain issues in the game where it makes it seem like there should be something there, but then there's really nothing. It's just like kind of collision detection between two different types of terrain. So stuff kind of sticks out but then isn't really anything. It's just like the underneath part of some other terrain. There were some rose hips back there and I'm just like whatever at this point. I found enough. So I'm journaling. It says I gotta climb out of the ravine, which I felt like I did. So I'm like, okay, well I guess I'll just wander over here. This seems like an open spot. So I was just like trying to look around. Okay, what else? See parts of the plane laying around. See the plane out there stuck in the trees.
I sure hope Astrid's not in there.
I see you're still wearing it.
Huh? Wearing what?
Your ring. Our ring.
Oh. Yeah. I mean, I just forgot to take it off.
I wear mine too.
Why?
Memories, I guess.
I thought you wanted to forget.
Not all of it.
Look. I should have looked for you.
It's okay. I've kept busy. I've moved on.
You sure? Because this all seems pretty familiar. You still working with that researcher? Dr. What's his name?
No. No, I'm not working at the center anymore.
Well, then where?
I'm working on my own. Freelance, you could say.
Freelance doctor? That sounds legit.
I don't question your life choices, Mackenzie. Plenty of things you could be doing besides hanging out in your dad's old plane and drinking in the daytime.
Hey, we had a lot of good times in this plane. And it's under control.
I know, okay? I'm not here to fight, really.
I think about him all the time, you know?
I know you do.
But I did. The choice I made. I did it for us.
You don't have to. Let's just not...
No. It's important that you hear this. There's things I need to say.
Mackenzie, not now. There's...
Just let me tell you.
Will, shut up for a second. Something's wrong.
That is not good.
What's going on?
Power's gone. Whole electrical system looks fried.
Shit! What's happening?
No power means we're going down. Hold tight.
Will?
And that, my friends, concludes episode 1 of The Long Dark. Now we have the beginning of the story. We are Will. The only thing I know about myself is that I fly planes. Our ex-wife, Astrid, comes into our workplace one day out of the blue asking us to help her deliver some medicine to someone very ill, and she manages to manipulate us into flying her somewhere. It would seem as though Astrid's profession is what drove the wedge between her and I. Also, something tragic must have happened in the past because I'm surprised she's still a doctor. She also slipped up and called me Mackenzie. Who the hell is that? On the flight, Astrid and I learned we still have some good feelings for one another, as indicated by both of us still wearing our wedding rings. Suddenly there's seemingly an EMP, electromagnetic pulse, that hits out of nowhere that causes our plane to crash. In episode 2, we will start the next part of our journey, which is to try and find Astrid.